Jeffrey Focus. I think we talked on the phone several weeks before trial started. Is that right?
I think so, yes.
And you're in, not show business, that's wrong, media, is that right?
I spent 24 years in broadcasting.
Okay, what'd you do?
13 of those years I worked for NBC Nightly News, or a local affiliate in Birmingham, Alabama. And then I worked for a software broadcast company for a year. And then I spent 10 years at the Weather Channel as their main commercial coordinator.
All right. I think you told me you won some awards and things?
I have 2 Emmy Awards for my writing. And what else you want to know?
The media and things like that?
Time up until the time for me to do something different with my life.
And fair to say that you have a conversation with the defendant, Mr.
During the time that
So you've had lots of phone calls? History, how many times are between you two?
going on between the
You actually had to pay attention to details and grammar and syntax and things like that because you got an award for writing. You do pay attention to details, right? I mean, professionally, that's what message since she came back into her life. You can
say probably.
How many times have you talked to her? How many conversations have you?
It just depends. I'm trying to remember because it's been, what, 6 or 7 years ago. It's a long time ago. And I would probably say interaction with and talking to her every other day just to say, hi, how are you doing, that sort of thing, making sure that her safety is okay. She was concerned about her safety.
So can you answer my question? How many times do you think you talked to her?
I don't know, maybe a few hundred.
And how many times did you report or make a statement?
She never told me to do that.
How many times do y'all discuss you making a police report or something like that?
I don't know that there was any of those times that she did.
Well, obviously, I had to tell her about it for you to be here, right? You have to tell her about it for you to be here. The attorneys didn't know about those before, outside of her, would they?
I'm not clear on what you're asking.
You testified today that you had to call, I guess, something with law enforcement when Scott was following you, and I think also...
Yes, I called 911 because I couldn't understand why he was calling me. I mean, why he was following me, excuse me.
So you two talk about at least that, correct?
Yes.
All right, and you're here today because of what you've told her. Would that be fair to say? I mean, you didn't know her attorneys before this event, did you?
No.
So you didn't tell them outside of her about all these incidents, right?
No, I mean, I don't think I did. I mean,
okay, so it's fair to say that you're here based on what you've told her or what she's told you, right?
During that time period.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay. And you testified to 3 main things: a Christmas party in 2018, is that right?
That's correct.
And you did that because you are a nice guy, correct?
I try to be.
Yeah, and you feel for the defendant, right?
I feel for Melody because I've been through a Great Depression in my life. I know what it's like to lose family members. I know what it's like to be extremely depressed.
Yeah. And you seem like a reasonable person, and you talk about depression and feeling sad and things like that. And you talk about this trailer incident with Scott. But you could also, if you put on kind of an objective hat, you would agree with me that Scott, he also could be sad and be depressed and be upset when he believes his mother murdered his father.
Well, I think that the whole family would be disturbed and upset during this time period. And, you know, but the interaction that happened that day between Scott and myself, that wasn't depression. That was control. That was anger.
So that would be no, you don't understand that Scott could be upset because he believed his mother killed his father, or yes, you believe he could be upset?
No, I do believe he could be upset.
And then finally, when he followed you on public road, right?
That's correct.
He never laid a hand on you, correct?
Never laid a hand on me.
Never threatened you, right?
Well, I don't know. When someone follows you at a high speed, don't you feel threatened by that?
No.
So if you left this courtroom and you went down the street and a stranger started following you, you wouldn't feel threatened?
No.
I see. Okay.
He never said, I'm going to hurt you, I'm going to kill you, anything like that, right?
No, it was just basically he was yelling and screaming. I didn't know him.
So when you're on that public road and he was following you, you were in your vehicle, correct?
I was in my private vehicle, yes.
And you were driving away, right?
That's correct.
And if he felt like you were doing something improper on the property, whether stealing something or helping his mom to take something, you could understand that he may want to follow you and see where you go, right?
No,
Okay.
because I wasn't doing anything wrong.
But you can understand how he feels about what's going on with his mom because of the murder, right?
No, because I will say this. After that interaction and seeing how he was acting, it was very close to being violent that day. And I felt threatened as far as that arena is concerned. And anytime you leave a situation like that where someone's yelling and screaming, you don't know what they're capable of doing. You don't know what they're going to do. That's why I called 911.
And that's based on how you felt, right?
Yes, that's how I felt.
All right. And you're basically saying that you were scared of Scott. Is that fair?
At that moment, yes.
So let me get it straight. You thought Scott was violent, and Scott was out of control, and he was very upset. But yet you went back to the property not once, not twice, but 3 times by yourself when Scott could be there?
No, it was not by myself. I always had somebody with me. I would never go on the property by myself.
You're so concerned with him that you went back and fed the animals when he could possibly be there?
I always had a family member or somebody with me because I'm smart enough to know that you don't go on private property without somebody's okay or without a family member or a police officer or somebody. My concern was for those animals. Those animals were not being taken care of during that time period. I grew up on a farm with my grandparents in the summertime, and I understand what horses go through. I know they can get colic. I understand when an animal looks hungry and acts different, they're hungry. And you probably have pets. I have pets, and your pets are going to come to you when they're hungry. Those animals during that time period, whatever he was doing, wherever he was, were not being fed.
That's your opinion.
That is my opinion. And when you have an animal run up to you begging for water and food, yes.
Nothing more, Judge.
Just one follow-up question.
Go ahead.
Mr. Thomas, have you spoken to Melody since she was arrested?
I went to the jail to see her a few times.
Okay. Let me break it down a little bit. Have you talked to her any in 2024, either on the phone or in person?
No,
2023,
no.
2022?
I don't know what year she was in jail, or she would have been in jail, what was it, the year 2019. Maybe I spoke to her in 2020.
Okay.
I had a lot going on. My mom died in 2020, so there was a lot of, I don't know the time period during that.
But you haven't talked to her recently
No.
or any relevant portion before this trial?
No.
Okay. No further questions, Judge.
Have you talked to Alan sitting right there recently?
He is a good friend of mine.
That's not my question. Have you?
Yes, I've always talked to Alan.
Nothing more, Judge.
All right. Anything else? All right, you can step down. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.